encompass all the other needs. Because when you're meeting your needs for growth and contribution, do you think when you're growing and you have contribution, you have certainty? Absolutely. Do you have uncertainty or variety? Absolutely, right? Because when you're growing, you're learning new information. When you're contributing, you're getting variety. Significance. Do you think you could get significance from contribution?
Yes.
Absolutely. In a healthy, positive way. And love and connection. When you're contributing, you feel connected to the universe, to yourself, right? To your inner values. So,
if anybody wants to contribute, I've got a free job.
there you go. Mom's got a food drive if anyone wants to. And she does clothes as well for all the families in the community who do need it. So if you have any old clothes laying around, if you get home and you're motivated and one of your goals is to sprinkling your house and you've got a bunch of old clothes, please do send them over to her so that we can contribute them to people who actually need them. You know, sometimes we think of things that are not as important, but if to some people that's all they'll have, you know. Okay, so growth and contribution, if you can learn to start bringing these more as your guiding beliefs and your guiding values, do you think it could make a slight difference in your life? If you left here and you decided, okay, even just for the next week, I'm going to focus on how can I grow in any area that I want to grow, and how can I contribute beyond myself without expecting anything in return? Because that's where the real fulfillment in life comes from. When you meet the needs of the ego, you will feel in alignment with yourself. And again, you can meet them in healthy or unhealthy. But when you meet the needs of the soul, these two needs, that's where fulfillment comes from. You cannot have fulfillment if you're not growing and if you're not contributing. It's part of the cycle of fulfillment. You have to be growing, you have to be expanding. If something's not growing, what is it doing? It's dying, right? It's not staying the same, it's dying. It's going backwards and everything else is going forward. So we have to be growing and we have to be contributing. So no questions on that, right? Okay. So we understand a little bit more about fulfillment, right? Fulfillment is a way of living guided by these values, by these needs. But now what about happiness? Where does happiness come into all of this? And I'm actually going to use this board. Okay, so happiness. The formula for happiness. Now again, happiness is unique and individual to each and every one of us, but there's actually a very specific formula that applies to everybody sitting here. How many of you want to know what it is? Or should we just stop the seminar now? Yeah? Stop it and go. Yeah? Okay, I want to find out who, am I going to pick on people, or are you guys going to just willingly throw yourselves under the buses? I think I'm going to have to pick on people. Okay. I want to find out Masha.
Everyone's awake.
Marsha's awake.
What is an area of your life that you are happy?
I'm happy with my family, my husband, my kids.
Family. Happy. Family and kids. Why?
There's no issues, there's no problems, we get along well.
No
Hubby and I.
issues, get along well. What is your ideal expectation of a marriage or a relationship or a family life?
Well, with the husband, it's trust, communication. What else? We've got to be happy. We've got to care for each other. Respect. That's key. Yeah.
Does your husband respect you? Are you happy with him? Does he care about you? Okay, very easy.
Otherwise, I would have been divorced long time.
You say that, but some people don't, right?
True. Yeah.
We say that, but some people don't. But okay, but that's your happiness. That's beautiful. Who else? Roy, tell me, what is an area of your life you're happy with?
Oh, my job, because I can do it. I do it easy. I've done it all my life.
Okay, so do you feel like you can do it confidently? Firstly, what is your expectation of a job? How should what would
Money in
make
the bank.
Money in the bank. Okay. What else?
Money in the bank.
With that trust.
Okay.
More money.
Look after yourself.
Yeah.
What about confidence in your work that you're doing?
Yeah, but I have that. That comes with experience.
Okay.
Anyways, I have
So
that.
confidence. So money in the bank. Does your job give you money in the bank? He's from the UK.
Yeah.
So it gives you money in your South African bank, right?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So now,
Yeah.
Kerry, what is an area of your life that you are unhappy with?
Think now, please. Like I'm on the spotlight.
I know. You can page back to your wheel of life. You should have something written there. Or just think the top of your head. What's the area of your life that you're unhappy with?
Stability, I suppose.
Stability, but where? Personal growth, career, health, career,
Yeah.
or personal growth.
Both together, I think. My career is.
Okay, so career and growth. What does happiness or success in this area look like? What would make you happy with your career?
It's something that I enjoy doing. So
Enjoy doing.
Something that I believe in.
Are you working at the moment?
No.
No. Okay. So okay. Were you unhappy in your old job?
No, I just felt not trapped, but just wasn't going to go anywhere.
Okay. So
Yeah.
is growth an important part of your career? So then should we say growth is actually an important part? That's what would make you happy in a career, is if you had a career where you're growing and expanding and you enjoyed it and you believed in what you're doing, but you're also growing. So your previous job, you said you felt that there was no growth.
No.
And did you believe in what you're doing? Did you?
I did believe in what I'm doing. I enjoyed it. But again, it's
But no growth.
no growth.
Okay,
That was it.
so we didn't match the need for growth. Okay, who else? Who does anyone want to volunteer, or am I going to pick on one more person? There you go. I was going to pick on you anyway.
I think health is
Unhappy, yeah?
health and fitness.
Okay,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm just going to health and fitness. What does your expectation of health and fitness look like to you personally?
Consistency
Consistency,
of doing all the things that you're supposed to do.
doing all the things that you're supposed to do. What else? What does being healthy to you mean? Does it mean being energized, being confident, being happy,
Yeah,
being
being confident in your body. I mean, not your body.
be confident in my body? Not for this holiday though.
And like nutrition.
Okay, so good nutrition. Okay. So now your health right now. So this we're going to put your reality, right? And here I'm also just going to touch on Kerry's reality. Her unhappiness is coming, or the area is her career, and we know that she's not currently working. So can we see that the reality of where it's supposed to be is not quite there? What would you say your reality? Are you consistent with doing the things that you're supposed to be doing right now?
No.
Are you confident with how you're looking and feeling? Okay. And what do happiness, confident level?
What again?
So happiness.
Yeah.
What level of confidence would you have to be happy?
Maybe like 40% more.
40%, so
Yeah.
90 out of 100. I was just going to say 40% more. Okay, and now we're at 50 out of 100, right? Do you have great nutrition?
No.
Okay. So, can we see now happiness versus unhappiness? I don't know if you can see here the patterns, but I'm going to show you guys because you've been so good today. I'm going to just give you the answer.
Thanks.
Formula for happiness. You've got it down. When your BP equals your LC. So if you go to this page, Formula for Happiness, when your blueprint matches your life conditions, you will be happy. When your blueprint does not match your life conditions, guess what happens?
Pain and suffering.
You're unhappy. Pain and suffering, which is depression, suffering. Have any of you ever been there? Like you feel like there is, like you are suffering, boy. You're in pain. Anyone ever been there? I'm sure we all have. Suffering comes from when your blueprint does not match your life condition and you feel powerless to change it. So when this doesn't match, if you know you can just change it, you're just unhappy, but you're not depressed, you're not suffering. If you think that there is no way, if you believe that you're not able to change any of this, that is where depression, that is where suffering comes from, when you believe there's no change. Now, your blueprint is your model of the world, right? This is what we've been discussing today. This is your values, your beliefs, your memories, your conditioning, and also your expectations, right? So this is what you think life should be like, how people should be, how I should be. You could get someone who's only 2 or 3 kgs heavier than their ideal weight, and they're extremely happy, right? They're so unhappy with the way that they look. They think they're so fat, they're unhappy. But then you get someone who's 20 kgs heavier. We've seen them, and they're walking around and they own it, and they're like, yeah, and they're wearing these tight clothes. Yeah, we've seen them, and they're the tightest white clothes, and you can see every bit of silly, and they're walking with confidence, boy, and they're like, and all the men are going crazy on the street. Hey, mama, hey, how many of you see that? Yeah, we know. Right? Why? Because in their mind, big is beautiful. The bigger you are, the bigger that butt, the more beautiful. The more there is to grab onto, the better. Right? We've seen those, and we've seen those guys who love that. Right? So it's the blueprints. It's their beliefs. Then you can get someone who's super slim, super skinny, under their ideal weight, and they're unhappy with their weight. They still believe they're fat because they grew up in a supermodel environment where they believe that anorexic is beautiful, right? So it's not actually the reality that matters, it's the beliefs behind it that matters. So when your beliefs, your expectations are matching where you currently are, your current life conditions, that is where you'll be happy. And remember, your beliefs are extremely, extremely powerful. Whatever you believe is true actually becomes true. If you truly fully believe, you trick your brain into actually believing that that's the truth. They've put someone in a hypnotic state and they've burnt them with a piece of ice and made them believe that it's a piece of hot metal. And a blister will start to form because that's what the brain is telling you. The belief sent a direct signal to the brain to say, we are being burnt.
Yeah.
We went to a hypnosis show. The hypnotist made Rory not be able to see me. I'm his fiance. We've been dating for 6 years. He couldn't see me. He did not believe that I was standing there. Why? Because he tapped into his belief system. He changed it in an instant. And he said, boom, she does not exist. And that's how powerful your subconscious mind is. Right? Beliefs are the most powerful thing that you have. Have you ever heard of Roger Bannister? Hilton, I know you will. Anyone ever heard of Roger Bannister? Right? What did he do?
But the mouth.
He broke the 4-minute mile, right? It was believed that you could not run a mile in less than 4 minutes. It was the global belief. No one had ever done it for thousands of years, hundreds and hundreds of years. No one ever did it. It was believed it was impossible. People didn't even try, or they tried, and no one could ever get it right. Roger Bannister, though, he believed every day he believed next year I'm going to beat that 1 minute mile. And he ingrained it in his mind over and over and over. And all he did is imagine himself finishing that 4 minute mile in 4 minutes. 3:59, under 4 minutes. And then next year, what happened?
Someone else beat it.
Not only one, but 18 beat it.
Wow.
And then next year, what happened? Not only 18, but 300 beat it. And now it's just almost like a normal thing for people to beat. Once that belief was broken, they thought, yes, boy, open gates, it's possible. If he can do it, I can do it. Right? Our beliefs are extremely, extremely powerful. But the thing is, our beliefs were created such a long time ago. Most of our beliefs were created before we were 6 years old. So by the time we were 6 years old, we had formulated 85% of our beliefs and our core values. What you believe today, generally 85% of it comes from when you were younger than 6 years old. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that absolutely crazy? How many of you know a 5-year-old? Put your hands up. Keep your hands up if you would trust the 5-year-old to make every single decision for your whole day for the rest of the month. You wouldn't?
For 1 day.
For 1 day, right? But most of us are running around with the beliefs that we were created when we were little children. And these beliefs control every decision of our life. They control who we become as people. They affect what we do not do, what action we take, what action we do not take. These beliefs are so powerful, yet we never ever stop and think, well, maybe this belief isn't serving me. And we've practiced and thought about these beliefs so often that they've become so ingrained in us, we just think they're a part of us, right? We don't even stop to think maybe they're just a bullshit belief, right? So there was a man and he went to the circus and he saw this gigantic elephant. I'm going to show you the elephant. There's he there. This huge elephant. And this huge elephant had a little rope tied to a little stick in the ground. And this man looked at this and he puzzled and he thought, F is going on here? That elephants are so stupid, it can just pull that whole thing. He went to the circus train and he said, I have to ask you a question. How on earth do you have this elephant magically held by that little stick? Please tell me, I cannot figure it out. So the elephant trainer said to him, well, you know what happens? When this little elephant is a little baby elephant, it's very weak, right? So we tie him up to that stick, we tie him up with that rope. And every day that little elephant pulls and he pulls and he pulls. And he doesn't break free. And after a couple of weeks, little baby elephant, he stops trying. I'm not strong enough. I can't do that. He adopts the belief that he cannot break free. He adopts the belief that he is stuck. And he stays stuck. And he grows up to be a big elephant. And no one comes and tells him, hey, you can change your beliefs. You can break free. So he stays stuck. And that happens to most of us. We have these beliefs growing up. We have all these things, these stories that we're told that we begin to believe. We hold them, we carry them. Even if a parent says to a child, don't pick that up, you're not strong enough. Don't do that. You can't do that. And you hear that over and over. I'm not strong enough. I can't do that. No, I can't. I'm not strong enough. No, I can't pick that up. I'm not strong. And then we start telling ourselves and we keep believing that. And then all of a sudden we're 30, 40 years old and we're still stuck. So you have to ask yourself, what are the beliefs that you're maybe holding on to? The beliefs that maybe back then it served you. Maybe those beliefs helped you heal. They helped you get through the stages that you needed to get through in your life. But sometimes those beliefs that helped you heal, that helped you survive, they're not the best beliefs to be holding in this stage of your life to get to where you want to be. Right? Our beliefs protect us. Our beliefs protect us. They help serve us. Every belief comes with a positive intention. Everything is done for you, to serve you, to protect you, to help you heal. But it's not always the best tool for right now in your life. Okay, so we said when your blueprint does not match your life conditions, you feel pain. You'll feel pain. But when you feel there is nothing you can do about it, that's what creates suffering and depression. But the thing is, you always have the power to change. Always. And there's 3 options that you have. The first one is blame. And that's our favorite one, yeah? That's most people's, not ours, because we're not like that, but other people, other places.
There are other retreat that's away.
Yeah, that one, right? Blaming will not get you any results. May make you temporarily feel better. Yeah, it's not my fault. But it's only a temporary thing. And then again, you'll face that same problem because you haven't taken any action.
There's often we blame what's happened in the past for the reason we're not performing now.
Yes.
That's the big issue. Like,
Absolutely.
Past got nothing to do now. I'm not performing now because I'm not performing now.
Yes. What are the reasons I'm not performing now? But we like to blame the past because if there's an excuse, we don't actually have to do anything about it, right? If we have an excuse, we don't need to change anything because we have an excuse. We've got someone to blame. But the problem with blaming is you give away your responsibility. Because if you're not responsible, how do you change it? If someone else or if the past is responsible, how do you change that? You can't change the past, so we just stay stuck. Because changing is uncomfortable. Right? Breaking through those beliefs, it's uncomfortable. It's not comfortable. But it's necessary. So the first one is blame. It's not going to get you anywhere. And it takes away the power to actually change. So only once you take responsibility and stop blaming can you actually make any changes. The second one is you can change your life conditions, right? If you're unhappy in your career, you could quit your job and get a new job, right? If you were unhappy, I actually had a life coaching client who was unhappy in his career. And the reason he was unhappy, he was going to quit his job. And I said to him, hey, well, what's the reason you're unhappy? No, I want to grow. Well, why don't you just speak to your MD and tell him that? And he went and spoke to his MD. And guess what? He got put up into another position. Our next coaching session, he was like, I've got so much on my plate. I'm learning so many new things. Can we do a session to get me more calm and more mindful? Because there's so many things going on. I'm growing in so many different directions. So change your life conditions. Change either your immediate environment or what you're doing or what your life conditions. If you're unhappy with your health, start taking action to change it. Start eating a little bit healthier. Start moving a little, go on a retreat, right? And remember, perfection doesn't equal happiness. Progress equals happiness. So you don't get happy once you've perfected it. Already once you start taking action, you feel happier, right? It's that progression. It's that progression in the right direction that's what creates happiness. And the final option, change your blueprints. Change the beliefs. Change the way in which you are viewing, seeing, and experiencing this situation. So for instance, if your unhappy area was health and it was something that was out of your control, like for example, there was a 60-year-old woman and she was always grumpy and she was always moody and she was always fighting with everyone. And one day she snapped at someone and the person turned around and said, hey, like, listen, what's up? What's up with you? Why are you always so unhappy? She said, well, how am I supposed to be happy? To be happy, you need to be married, you need to have kids, and you need to have a beautiful big white picket fence. And my husband cheated on me and divorced me before we had any kids. So how can I ever be happy? Her happiness meant that she had to be married with kids to be happy. She's 60 years old now. Her husband divorced her, cheated on her, and they never had kids. Can she now at 60 years old go and marry someone, get kids?
Maybe.
Maybe not our own kids.
Right? No, you cannot have exactly what you want, but can you maybe change your blueprint? Can you maybe say, okay, I can't have kids, but maybe a dog will make me happy. I can't have a husband, maybe a girlfriend will make me happy. Right? So, what are the beliefs? Do you need to change your blueprints or do you need to change your life condition? Generally, it's a combination.
I was just gonna ask, can you do like a 50-50?
Absolutely, yes, 100%. And remember, everyone is individual. Whatever your problem area is, you may need one of the other, or you may need both. You could need a combination and different ones, but you need to figure out what is it that's making you unhappy? Is it actually the life conditions? And if it is, can you change something in your immediate environment? So if you're unhappy with where you're living, can you change something immediately to make you more happy? Can you put more decorations? Or do you just need to get the hell out of there? Right? So immediate environment or change complete environment, or do you need to change your blueprints? Does that make sense? Okay, everybody stand and just shake it out. I won't make you dance. Just stand and shake it out just so that you are... Shake it, shake it, shake it. Get that energy. Okay. And sit back down. But can you feel, in all honesty, can you feel the energy that gets into your body when you stand up? Yeah? Absolutely. Sit back up, shoulders up, chest straight, nice and tall, nice and proud. Okay. 3 things that make us unhappy. The 3 main things that make us unhappy. Limiting beliefs, expectations, and fear. Limiting beliefs about not being good enough, not being strong enough, not being capable, not being the right kind of person. Fear. And remember, fear and faith, they have a lot in common. Right? Fear and faith are actually very, very similar if you look at them. They're both not actually real. They're intangible. They're products of our mind, right? You can't see them. You can't see your faith. You cannot see fear. They do the exact same job on opposite sides of the spectrum, right? So if you have fear, which every single person sitting here does, because that's how we stay alive, our body primes us to search for the fear, because if you know there's fear, you know there's a threat, you know you're in danger, so you need to keep yourself safe. Except now we're not out in the wild facing saber-toothed lions and tigers. Now we're in our houses and we're faced with all these fear that we think is going to kill us. Remember what Simi said earlier? She said, you think you're going to die, but you're not. Right? And that's what our brain says. If you stay in this position, you will die. If you make a mistake at work, they will laugh at you and you will die. Right? If you make a mistake, you will die if they laugh. 100%. How many of you have ever experienced that? Yeah. So we have all these fears of not being good enough, fear of not being loved. Because we need love in order to survive. I didn't say about the baby, yeah? You did. Little baby, right? If it doesn't get touched, if it doesn't get loved, what happens to it?
It will die.
It dies, right? It does. A little baby that's born, if it's not held, if it's not loved, if it doesn't feel physical connection, it dies. It doesn't cry, doesn't get unhappy, it dies. That's why you get people who have to go in to the what's it called?
Yeah.
The ward. I was going to say ward. I felt like it was a prison. The ward, and their job is to go and play with the babies because the babies need that physical touch. It's actually a condition that they develop and they die. So fear and faith, they're both imaginative. They're both in our mind, but one can empower you, one can disempower you. Right? Most of the time, we fear things so much that aren't even really real. We spend a week or 2 weeks before it even happened fearing all these things that might happen, and sometimes they don't even happen, right? You ever experienced that? You've spent 2 weeks feeling feared, feeling stressed, feeling overwhelmed, and then the thing doesn't even happen. How inconsiderate. Huh? What if we had to rather replace that fear with faith, knowing that whatever's meant to happen will happen. If it happens, it was meant to happen. And if it doesn't happen, I will be okay because I have faith in me. And that's where we get our certainty from. We can use faith for certainty. So the antidote to fear, focus on gratitude, your appreciation and blessings. Focus on what you can do, on what you can control, and what the solution moving forward is. So don't stay stuck on your problem. Don't stay stuck on what's making you unhappy. Oh, I'm unhappy and I'm unhappy and I'm just stuck here. No. What can we do about it? Where can we change? What is the solution? Because focusing on the problem is not going to give you any results, right? And it's okay to feel fear. It's okay to feel anger. It's okay to feel sad. We're human beings. It's part of life. But it's not okay to live there, right? So we want to learn to not live there and focus more on the present and the future. Look to the past to see what you can learn from it. Don't stay stuck on all the things that happened in the past because you can't change them. Learn from them for sure, but don't stay stuck there. Don't live there because we live in the moment. Okay, so I want you to all to open up your book to this Formula for Happiness page. So remember that area of your life that you're unhappy with. We're going back to the wheel of life. But it doesn't necessarily have to, if you feel like right now there's another area that's actually maybe more important to you, you can use that. You don't need to stick to the one we did because we're different people from last night, right? How many of you are a different person from last night? Say, ah, damn straight, yes you are. So, what is an area of your life that you're unhappy with? Write it down. What does happiness or success look like in that area? And what are the beliefs you have around that area? What are the beliefs that are limiting you, preventing you from being happier? What is the fear behind this belief? And then I want you to answer question 3 as well. So you're going to answer up till question number 3. Who was the person that you learned this belief from? Was it mom? Was it dad? Was it a school teacher? Was it a best friend? So who was the person that you learned this belief from? And was this person worth modeling in that area or not? Okay. So you have a few minutes to answer those.